They beat LA last year in the championship game, and then the year before that, in 2016, the Sparks beat us in the championship game. So the whole Candace Parker, LA Sparks, Chelsea Gray, we have a huge rivalry with them, so it was fun to play that game. The Lynx only shot 27% from three. Maya Moore shot below, I think, 40%. She only had 14 points. Sylvia Fowles had 18 and 12. But a really quiet start to the game for her, but she came on strong. And here's why I bring this up. Obviously, it's big news, but the larger scope of this is Lindsay Whalen's retiring. She's going to her alma mater, the Gophers, to coach, which I fully support. But Rebecca Brunson, the WNBA all-time leading rebounder, as well as Simone Augustus, are both free agents. They're both in their 30s. Is the franchise, is the franchise of the Lynx, the dynasty that is this WNBA team, arguably one of the most successful runs in the sport's history? Is it coming to a close, Rick?
Zaps, I don't want to burst your bubble here, but the winningest franchise in Minnesota sports history in the last 10 years might have had their last championship in, I'm going to say at least 5 years, right? Because that's how long it takes to rebuild. That's tough, man. I'm really sorry. The Lynx, but
thank you for your apology.
I haven't been to a Lynx game this year, but I talked to a few people that have gone to Lynx games. I know we messed up on that, but they said it was different. They said the vibe in there was different this year. Obviously, with the players being a bit older, and that's just how sports works, right? You can't win every single year. Look at the Blackhawks.
Yep, they sucked last year. You're right. So here,
long dramatic pause. Yeah, exactly.
So the thing I think is we still have Maya Moore, former MVP. We still have Sylvia Fowles, who won the MVP, I believe, last year. So we have two anchors on this team. We have a rookie, Cecilia, from Italy, who had 6 starts this year. She's big, small forward.
She's very
Twitter. Good
Twitter.
She's very athletic. So she's going to come on strong next year. And then Faye Bentley had a huge game. She only averaged, I think, 3.5 points per game during the regular season, but she had 14 points in the loss in the playoff game. So we have some young guns that are coming up the way. Lindsay Whalen submitted her starting point guard role towards the end of the season, knowing that we had to get some of the young guns in there. So there's hope, but the WNBA, as this league is growing, is certainly getting better and better. So
exactly.
I don't know. It's up in the air. We don't have the Golden State Warriors roster that we used to. We're going to have to do more with less. But sometimes that is the key. Rick, loved your Rick's rant last week. This week I wanted to bring it back because it was just phenomenal. Different subject, same style. What do you got for us?
What was it, Monday? No, what's today, Thursday? I think it was Tuesday. We'll go with Tuesday. On Tuesday, the Cubs traded for Daniel Murphy, who, to Cubs fans, is one of the worst people on the planet. This guy destroyed us in 2015. When he was with the Mets, he set a postseason record, hitting 6 consecutive postseason games, having 6 consecutive games with a home run in the postseason. No one has ever done that in baseball, and he did it in 2015, propelling the Mets to the World Series where they would eventually crumble and fall. But anyway, they swept the Cubs in the NLCS that year, and that's when the hatred toward Daniel Murphy began. In his career, he is a .413 hitter at Wrigley Field. This guy is a monster at one of the best ballparks in the world. Let me just say that. He has 10 years of service in the MLB with a .300 career batting average. Daniel Murphy is now a Chicago Cub, and I couldn't be happier. When I found out, it was actually from one of my Wisconsin Milwaukee Brewer fans, Cale Paczynski. He texted me saying the Cubs got Murphy. I'm like, what are you talking about? And then boom, got the update on my phone, saw it, so happy. Cub fans don't know how to react, though. I saw a lot of backlash on Twitter saying, oh my gosh, what are we doing? Like, everybody, because if you're a Cubs fan, you know Daniel Murphy is the worst guy ever. He just destroys the Cubs. He seems to hit a home run against us every single time he's at the plate. Very tough there. So now he plays for the blue and white, and he's at the friendly confines. It's amazing, and it's funny how you can hate somebody so much as a fan and now love him in just a quick turnaround like that. Daniel Murphy is on the Cubs, and the Cubs are going to win the World Series.
As if the rich could not get richer, look at Theo Epstein in the Chicago Cubs, and that is a perfect example why. There's Rick's rant. Moving on to the NFL, we are previewing our first NFC division, the NFC West. So we'll go one team at a time. So the team that took it home last year, the LA Rams, 11-5 finish, 4-4 on the road, 4-4 at home, 7-1 on the road. So an interesting split there. It's been highly touted the offseason that they've had. They had Aqib Talib, star cornerback, as well as Marcus Peters, Ndamukong Suh, as well as speedster wide receiver Brandon Cooks. They led the NFL in scoring last year, scoring 478 points. They literally went from worst to first. They were worst in 2016, the best last year. Gurley, an amazing player, 19 total touchdowns last year, which led the NFL, as well as 2,093 all-purpose yards. That was first in the league as well. Rick, what are your thoughts on the Rams going into now 2018?
Well, their division got a lot better, as we'll talk about later on in this segment. But the LA Rams, I don't know if they can repeat everything they did last year. They were 4-2 against the division. Here's the crazy stat, though. They were 7-1 on the road. Is that just an anomaly? Is that a fluke? I don't know. Also, Todd Gurley scoring 19 touchdowns. Can he do that again? I really doubt that. So there are a few things going against the Rams in terms of like projections looking forward. Can they be as good? This is kind of like the Atlanta Falcons of 2016, right? Led the league in scoring. They scored over 500 some points that year. Matt Ryan had a career year. Julio Jones went off. And then look what they did last year. They really underperformed. A lot of pressure. They got the target on their back. Can they come out and win the West in back-to-back seasons? What is that, since like 2000, 2001? When have the Rams done that before? Really tough. It's going to be really interesting to see how the Rams play this year.
Going back to the greatest show on turf days with Falk, Warner, you had Torrey Holt, Isaac Bruce, a phenomenal team. And I agree. I think offensively they regress a little bit just because it almost feels like they have to. But defensively, they arguably have the most talent in the entire NFL. So I think they're going to be pretty similar. The team that was right behind them last year were the Seattle Seahawks. They crawled their way to a 9-7 finish. But here's the thing, folks. Their defense is hurting. Richard Sherman gone. He's a 49er. Michael Bennett gone. Cam Chancellor retired. And Earl Thomas is still holding out. And let me just fill you in on how good this defense has been. Defenses are typically graded on how many points they give up. So the Seattle Seahawks last year in 2017 gave up the third least amount of points in the league. In 2016, they did the same. And then literally from 2015 all the way to 2011, they were number one in the league in points against, giving up the least amount of points. It's been a historically great defense. It's the end of an era. However, they do have a guy by the name of Russell Wilson, former Badger, who led the NFL with 34 touchdowns last year. And they drafted Rashad Penny, a really good running back out of San Diego State. With their first-round pick, for a team that had a lot of holes, it was very interesting they went that position. They also have Chris Carson, who was a seventh-round pick last year, who's penciled in to start. Rick, do you see the Seahawks falling off a cliff this year?
Well, in 2016, Russell Wilson had 21 touchdowns with a better offense. Last year, he had 34, so that's 13 more touchdowns than he had 2 seasons prior. Is he going to improve those numbers? I don't think so either. I'm sorry. Who does Russell Wilson have to throw the ball to? Doug Baldwin? Is he going to be able to get open? He's 5'10" wide receiver who is going to be covered by the best cornerback on each team every night. The Seattle Seahawks, man, if they can get back to running the football, though, if Rashad Penny can have a breakout rookie campaign, which we've seen so many rookies do in the past, I think that Seattle would be okay. But as you mentioned, Alex, their defense has taken a lot of shots, right? I mean, so many guys are gone now. They were the Legions of Boom, right? Legions of Boom.
No, they were historically
play on
good.
Words there. And at home, it used to be that you go to Seattle, it's the toughest place in the world to play. Last year, they were 500, 4-4 at home. What happened to that? What happened to the 12th man? Where'd he go? Is he there still? Did he head south for L.A. to join all the L.A. teams? Or maybe he's in Vegas. Who knows? The Rams, the Seahawks are going to sit behind the Rams all season long. I don't think they'll have a better record than L.A.
Yeah, I definitely think they're coming down. I think Russell Westbrook keeps this team relevant, but I certainly think it would be a really tall task to beat that 9-7 record and the team that was right behind them that had an 8-8 win-loss total last year. Were the Arizona Cardinals, a surprising team. They had a minus 66-point differential, but still managed.
That's not good.
Yeah, that's horrible, and it was the worst. It was the worst in the NFC West, but they still managed to be 500 somehow, some way. They bring in Chosen Rosen, the UCLA product quarterback, rookie. But Sam Bradford, former Vikings QB1, is scheduled to be the starter for the Cardinals.
He's not injured yet?
He is not injured yet, but we are certainly keeping our checklist open. Our doctor.
It's coming. It's coming soon.
Yes, it is coming. David Johnson is back, phenomenal running back who had the most prolific fantasy football season of any running back since 2010 in the 2016 season. He's the only guy in the last 15 years to put up over 390 points during that span. On defense, they have a lot of good players. It's a big reason why they were so successful last year. Robert Nkemdiche is a stud from Ole Miss. He's a former number 1 overall ESPN 300 prospect. He's been a good pro so far, although he's causing a little bit of trouble. But, the Cardinals don't care too much about that. Chandler Jones, another phenomenal talent, edge rusher, former New England Patriot. Buchanan's a stud that really plays the Honey Badger Tyrann Mathieu role now that he's got, playing some linebackers with some safety. Reddick is a really good linebacker they have who they drafted last season, along with arguably a top 5 cornerback in the league. Patrick Peterson, Bethea is a really good safety as well. And also Steve Wilkes, new head coach, Bruce Arians out. Former defensive coordinator for the Panthers. Rick, do the Cardinals beat their 500 record of last year?
Oh, yeah, the Cardinals do. They got new life, right? New life in the Arizona Cardinals. Yeah, I think they go above 500 this year. I think they're going to surprise some people, and they might even finish above the Seattle Seahawks in the division standings. Look, you get David Johnson back. He's here. Their defense is sound. We know that. What happened to the Honey Badger? How's he doing?
He's all right. He's good. He's hanging in there.
The Honey Badger's a good guy. Okay?
Yeah. He's still in the league. I can't remember where. I think he's like a Jet on the Jets here. I'll Google you.
I think he is. Again, bad podcasting. But again, you did not mention in the preview here of the Arizona Cardinals, Larry Fitzgerald, your boy, the Academy of Holy Angels. 2016, he led the league in receptions with 107. Last year, he was second in receptions with 109, only 3 behind Jarvis Landry. Larry Fitzgerald, wide receiver 1 for the Arizona Cardinals. He's solid. They've got a great running game now. No Adrian Peterson, though. That's sad. He's gone. No, they're going to face him week 1, though, against the Redskins. I think the Arizona Cardinals, whenever Sam Bradford goes down, Sam Rosen is going to step up and show some people what he can do and why he was a top 5 pick this year in the NFL draft. I like the Arizona Cardinals this year. Don't sleep on them.
Yeah, no, Josh Rosen's a stud. He was my favorite throwing quarterback from the draft. So if Bradford does go down,
is it because you like UCLA so much? Is that?
I do think they're in good shape. No, I do, and oh my god, I golfed with a guy who was recruited by UCLA, an old geezer, this past week. So God, UCLA in my life a couple of times.
Yeah.
Shout out Larry Fitzgerald. Go follow him on Twitter. He just posted a highlight reel, like getting pumped up for high school football, having some of his old Holy Angels highlights, which got me completely triggered for high school football. So thank you to Larry Legend, and thank you to the last team in this division last year. The San Francisco 49ers were 6-10, but they went 5-0 in their last 5 games. They were I believe that'd be 1-10 then at some point last year, I should say at the later juncture of last season. Jimmy Garoppolo is that new quarterback from the Patriots. The Patriots basically gave him to the 49ers. They gave him just a second-round pick, which teams would have given way more than that for him. So a little bit of potential insider trading. But we're not in the business of looking too closely. But the Niners did reward him with a $137.5 million contract. And it should be noted, in those 5 games he started, he only threw 7 touchdowns and 5 interceptions as well. So he was a winner, but the stats maybe don't necessarily back it up. They also signed former Viking Jerick McKinnon to a $37 million contract, but don't let that fool you. It's basically a 1-year guaranteed for essentially $11 million. So he's going to get paid for 1 year, and if he does well, maybe they keep him around This is another team that has some studs on defense. Elman Thomas, a former top 3 overall pick in the NFL draft out of Stanford. DeForest Buckner,